You're watching the greatest television show in history, other than The Apprentice, Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV.
Wednesdays for exceptional men with top news stories and great perspectives. So Jen Romero joins me again in Frank's spot, and joining us today in the Question Tequila Studios, Walter Bragman. You usually see him on Liquid Lunch with his adversary on the Mix It Up, Jaden Horn. But today we're not mixing it up. I know there's an issue out there that's important to you. It should be important to anyone who's part of the media, who tries to report, who tries to bring news to the masses. The Jamal Khashoggi killing has happened, now over a year ago. Hi, Walker.
Hi.
Tell us about this Khashoggi.
So it's been a year to the day that Jamal Khashoggi was butchered in the Saudi embassy, and there has been virtually no consequence for Saudi Arabia in that time. We are still supplying them with weapons. We are still. We recently approved a deal where private defense companies like Raytheon are manufacturing smart bombs now inside the kingdom itself. The Trump administration quietly approved a deal to sell nuclear technology to the Saudis. Meanwhile, the people who carried out the Khashoggi murder they're still sitting in Saudi Arabia. They have not been held accountable. The Crown Prince has been implicated, and we're not doing anything about it. In fact...
What could we do?
Well, we could stop supplying weapons to the Saudis. We could cut them off. As we've talked about on this show many times, they are committing a genocide in Yemen, which we are fully complicit in. We could stop supporting that. We could put an arms embargo on Saudi Arabia. They are not an ally. This is an American journalist who was killed, and the only reason that we are even entertaining diplomatic negotiations.
Because they're buying weapons from us.
Well, it's because they supply oil, and we have strategic.
We're not reliant on Middle Eastern oil anymore. We're a net producer now. We're the biggest.
Sure,
net
but
producer,
they're still
net exporter.
We still share interests in the region. Jared Kushner wants Saudi Arabia to broker some kind of peace deal between the Palestinians and the Israelis without the Palestinian involvement.
Right.
So they're a strategic partner in the region, but they're not an ally.
Well, it's more of a mercenary relationship. You know what I'm saying? They need us for, some muscle here and there. We need them as a back. We used to be reliant on them, but now we still need them as a backup plan. Plus, they buy weapons, which all these companies, Lockheed, Boeing, all the companies that make all this stuff, have all these, not just Republicans, Democrats and Republican administration officials that go to these big companies. And, that's why, that's the, Jen, in the stock market world, there's a thing called soft dollars, where you overpay someone on one side where it doesn't really hurt you, and then they overpay you somewhere else where you're not making as much as you would like. And it's so soft, you run a credit system.
This is all about money.
That's it. This goes back to that. It's all about money.
But if an American journalist were killed during the Obama years,
very difficult
Republicans
situation.
would be in an uproar about it. But Trump has dealings with Saudi Arabia, and he's made it very clear that Saudi Arabia is off limits. You can't target Saudi Arabia. You can't sanction them. You can't do anything.
To me,
it's
the reason
absolutely
this is
a political
important
issue.
is free speech, democracy, free press. They basically killed him because he was writing bad things about the Saudi Arabian royal family and everything else, and they don't want us doing anything at all with Saudi Arabia.
But this is an administration that is very hostile to the free press. I mean, the New York Times recently had journalists that had to, I believe it was the Times, had journalists that the Trump administration was planning on not helping out of the country. Actually, I apologize. I believe it was the Associated Press. But the administration was going to sit back and do nothing while
Trump
they
also
were
stands there
arrested.
in front of the helicopter for a half hour and takes 1,000 questions and gives himself a lot of access to the press.
But it's not about access. It's about protecting. It's about protecting journalists. Our journalists overseas are performing a necessary function. They are reporting on the world to give Americans insight into what's going on around them. That is an essential service, and they should be protected.
When you know you're wanted, right? Just apply it to anything. He knew that he was wanted by Saudi Arabian officials. He was like kind of marked. I question why he would even go to their embassy, like alone. It doesn't make sense.
Well, he's a journalist and he's an American citizen, and
He wasn't an American citizen.
Presumably, Saudi
He wasn't
Arabia.
an American citizen, but
He was an American citizen.
I don't think he was American.
He was an American citizen, and the fact is that the Trump administration should have protected him, or at the very least, made sure that there were consequences for his murder. You cannot kill an American journalist without consequence. But
still a Saudi Arabian citizen.
Well, he had dual
That's why
citizenship.
he was still a Saudi Arabian citizen. That's why he was going to the Saudi Arabian embassy to try to get some paperwork so he can not be a citizen anymore.
Well, he was trying to terminate his citizenship.
Right. So he's
Saudi
not an
Arabia.
American. You can't be an American and a full American naturalized and a full Saudi
People have
Arabian
dual
naturalized
citizenship all the time.
I don't think so. Not the way you're talking about. I don't think he was officially a naturalized citizen. So maybe we have a different.
But
Either
way, there should be consequences for his murder. He was reporting at an American outlet. He was somebody
who was writing for an American outlet.
He was writing for an American outlet. He should have had protection. The administration should have stepped in and should have done something to frankly punish Saudi Arabia for what it did. This sends the wrong message to the world. This says we don't care if you kill our journalists. We don't, if there's realpolitik involved. If you are an administration that we do business with, or a regime that we do business with,
You can't kill our reporters.
you can kill our reporters.
That's a bad precedent.
It's a terrible
to set.
precedent, and the only reason he's doing it is because Jared Kushner views Saudi Arabia as an essential ally, and Trump has dealings with the Saudis.
Fair enough. We bring all points of view on Liquid Lunch. I know what I am. I am what I eat. I'm going to eat this antipasto on this break. You're not even going to believe how good it is. It's from Freddy's Gourmet. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more Liquid Lunch right after this.